ABC 10 News at 5 starts right now.
A shortage of COVID-19 vaccines in San Diego County is limiting doses to 10,000 a day, half of what could be administered. The ongoing problem people are facing as they try to get vaccinated. And local business owners trying to stay afloat, desperate for another round of federal stimulus loans, the glitch that could be keeping them from much needed cash. Plus,
we just got people coming from all over, so it's really been fun.
and in a story that is positively San Diego, we're going to show you how a local homeowner's Toy Story display has continued to change as the pandemic continues to wear on.
ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
And good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson. I am joined remotely by my co-anchor Lindsay Pena. We're going to be checking in with her shortly. But first, San Diego County is continuing to deal with a shortage of COVID-19 vaccines despite having the capacity to vaccinate over 20,000 people a day. County leaders say that our supply is not keeping up with demand weeks after the rollout. As our ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer De La Cruz explains, many people are still struggling to make appointments.
Vaccinations are open to San Diegans 65 and older, but just getting an appointment is proving to be quite a challenge. Many seniors don't have access to a smartphone or a computer, and the county's 211 call center is overwhelmed. Paul Downey with Serving Seniors says his organization is trying to help.
If you don't have a smart device, trying to call 211 for assistance isn't working. We're getting hundreds of calls at Serving Seniors, and so our social workers are doing what we can to get people scheduled.
Many of the San Diegans he works with have mobility issues, so even if they are able to book an appointment, getting there can be a problem.
If you have mobility issues or mental health challenges, you can't get to Petco Park or one of the other sites easily.
In a press conference Wednesday, county officials said they're hiring more operators at their call center to keep up with that demand. The county is also struggling to keep up with the demand for more vaccines. There are now 19 vaccine sites in the county with the capacity to administer 20,000 doses a day, but with limited supply, they're only giving out half of that.
We have the infrastructure in place, so if those supplies increase, we are poised and ready and can quickly ramp up.
The lack of supply is also why many San Diegans are struggling to schedule appointments.
We're only going to make appointments available for vaccines that we know we have or we are confident are coming.
The county says they're working to build even more vaccination sites that would allow them to administer up to 30,000 shots per day. There's still no timeline on when more vaccines will arrive. Jennifer De La Cruz, ABC 10 News.
The county also said that they will be increasing enforcement of the public health order this weekend for the Super Bowl.
As of today, more than 298,000 people in San Diego County have been vaccinated for COVID-19, and more than 58,000 have been fully vaccinated, meaning they received both shots. Well, COVID-19 vaccines are now in the arms of some homeless people at the San Diego Convention Center. As ABC 10 News reporter Rena Nakano shows us, the city and county are working together to get the vaccines to traditionally underserved populations.
Homeless individuals 65 and over staying at the San Diego Convention Center are getting their COVID-19 vaccines. City firefighters are administering the shots.
That means City of San Diego stepping into a public health role. That isn't often what we do, but we do have the ability to do it.
The county gave the city 1,200 doses of the vaccine this week, while most will be given to essential city workers over 65 at Balboa Park. Around 100 are specifically allocated for the homeless population at the convention center. The mayor says his hope is to assist the county in both outreach and inoculations to serve these communities.
We believe that we can provide a surge capacity to get to some of our harder to reach communities, to get to other classifications who are not necessarily prioritized at the moment.
While the vaccinations at the convention center is a step in the right direction, the NAACP San Diego alerted the county that there are still groups of San Diegans who aren't being served. They say the Black and brown populations are getting vaccinated at less than half the rate they should be. They say while Black San Diegans represent 4.7% of the population, only 2.1% of all shots have gone to African Americans. And while Latinx makes up 33% of the population, only 13.6% of the vaccines have gone to that group. County Chair Nathan Fletcher explains that the demographics of the county as a whole are not the same as the people who are being vaccinated now, so the statistics should not be compared.
The demographics of healthcare workers and the demographics of seniors are different than the demographics of the county as a whole.
Fletcher says the county is working with nonprofits to tackle the equity issue for minority communities most impacted by COVID. Rena Nakano, ABC 10 News.
And we know there are a lot of questions and different experiences with the vaccine rollout. Our ABC 10 News in-depth team is committed to tracking down answers and sharing your stories. Just send us an email to tips@10news.com. And for the second day in a row, San Diego County is reporting fewer than 1,000 new cases. There were 968 new cases today, bringing that total to over 241,000. 54 deaths were also reported. More than 2,600 San Diegans have lost their lives to COVID-19. For the first time this season, someone with the flu has died. According to the county, he also had COVID. He was 65 years old and lived in the East County. There have been just 677 flu cases in San Diego this year. That's compared to more than 11,000 this time last year. 39 people have had flu and COVID at the same time.
We're told that many teachers are upset after Coronado reopened its middle and high schools this week, despite the county still being in the purple tier. One teacher who did not want to be identified told us that kids are mixing classes and social distancing is not always happening. The school district says it is following state guidelines and is allowed to reopen. The CDC director talked about schools this week.
There is increasing data to suggest that schools can safely reopen, and that safe reopening does not suggest that teachers need to be vaccinated in order to reopen safely.
The California Teachers Association disagrees. A spokesperson with that organization told us classrooms are not safe and that teachers should be vaccinated first. Frustration is growing for business owners trying desperately for another round of federal stimulus loans. Our ABC 10 News reporter John Horn explains why a series of computer glitches could be keeping them from much needed cash.
Well, that's called Chaton La Mission Aubryon.
The French Gourmet's award-winning wine collection is now up for sale. It's how owner Michel Malico is trying to keep the money coming in.
Right now, the cash flow is very, very tight, so I am going to have to use a small line of credit.
The other way to get cash? A federal Paycheck Protection Program loan, a new round part of the stimulus package passed in December. Malico, who got an above-average $472,000 the first time, submitted his latest application last month, but is stuck in limbo because of a glitch.
It's very worrisome because I don't hear anything. I don't get any update.
The American Bankers Association fired off this letter to the Small Business Administration early last week. So far, multiple sources say the response has been underwhelming. The letter says incorrect error messages are coming for some second loan applications. It also says applicants are not getting any responses via the SBA's web messaging system when trying to clarify. Attorney Kelly Duford-Williams says her clients' applications are seeing similar fates.
It's been reviewed by the bank, it's ready to go. They saw no error, and then it gets rejected by the SBA software for an insignificant, incorrect reason.
The transition between administrations is ongoing. The hope is that the process smooths out once President Biden's nominee, Isabel Guzman, is confirmed. John Horn, ABC 10 News.
The SBA says it is beginning to address some of those concerns, including holding a national call with lenders. It said in an initial review it identified anomalies in 4.7% of lender-submitted data that would require a follow-up.
There have been 3 Democratic presidents in 28 years. Each one faced a tough midterm loss that cost a lot. We don't want to let that happen here. So let's stick together.
That was from a conference call that President Joe Biden had with Democratic congressional leaders today. Biden told those Democrats to, quote, stick together in the push to provide relief to millions of Americans. It was essentially a warning about the dangers of intra-party battles, given Democrats' slim congressional majorities. The president signaled that he is open to narrowing the distribution of $1,400 stimulus checks. Biden says he's not willing to dramatically drop the $1.9 trillion price tag for that plan.
A group traveling the state trying to recall Governor Gavin Newsom is in town. They just wrapped up several hours of signature gathering outside City Hall downtown. Organizers say Newsom has mishandled the pandemic and needs to be removed from office.
I mean, we're in San Diego, one of the busiest cities with the highest attraction of visitors, and it's completely a ghost town out here. Education is failing, homelessness is an absolute problem, and so we as Californians deserve better.
The recall effort needs to gather 1.5 million valid signatures by March 17th to get a recall on the ballot. At the last update from the Secretary of State in mid-January, 720,000 signatures had been turned in. Well, tomorrow, House Democrats will vote on removing Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene from congressional committees. Greene has been blasted for making a series of outlandish and false statements. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has the simmering tensions within the GOP.
She's known as the QAnon Congresswoman.
It's a crime punishable by death, is what treason is. Nancy Pelosi is guilty of treason.
And now, in wake of the January 6th deadly Capitol riot and several conspiracies and falsehoods pushed by Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, the freshman Congresswoman is facing an onslaught of criticism from her Democratic colleagues. Today, Democratic House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer telling ABC there will be a vote Thursday to strip Greene of her committee powers, saying in part, "It is clear there is no alternative." Even Republican Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell weighing in with a blistering rebuke of Greene without naming her, saying loony lies and conspiracy theories are cancer for the Republican Party and our country. Greene has a history of spewing outrageous claims, once questioning whether the mass shooting that left scores dead in Las Vegas was set up by liberals to rally support for gun control. More recently, Greene was seen harassing a survivor of the mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
Yeah, you're attacking our Second Amendment.
And more tension in the GOP. Third-ranking House Leader Liz Cheney is feeling pressure from Trump-supporting members who want to punish her and 9 other Republicans for voting to impeach the former president. Florida's Matt Gaetz even traveling to Cheney's home state of Wyoming to rally against her.
Liz Cheney in this upcoming election, and Wyoming will bring Washington to its knees.
Senator McConnell once again commenting on matters in the other chamber, saying Cheney is an important leader in the party. Now, Democrats were calling on Republican Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy to discipline Marjorie Taylor Greene himself and remove her from her committee assignments, but now they'll do that through a House vote, and if successful, it would deliver a serious blow to Greene's power and influence on Capitol Hill. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, Washington.